Hey, this video is my 1-year update of owning my Robalo 266 Cayman. I've had this boat now for 166 engine hours, and I just looked up my Trip Intel BIB butt-in boat is 380 hours. So that's really the experience I have in this boat. I'm going to walk you through my modifications since my last update, and I'll give you an update on the modifications I've made previously and just show you how they're holding up. Some have held up better than others. And I think the key part of this video is really what I like and don't like about this boat after owning it for a year and spending almost 400 hours on it. So with that, let's get right into it. So my boat is primarily used for fishing. And if you're a fisherman like me, you're a gear junkie, you can't have enough rods, reels. The newest modification I'm blown away by. Haven't even used it, literally just installed it right before I turned the camera on. But that is these rod holders right here. I got a pack of 4. So I got this one set up in a king fishing position. These 2 up here are just additional. So I had 4, got 6. Canal Mass says that's a 50% improvement. And I got the other one over here set up in the kingfish position. So I got these off of Amazon. I'll put the price and the type right here, but they are sturdy. One of the things I really like is it came with this rubber insert. So it can fit really on any diameter, but I got these set up so that I can troll with them. Might be some uses just to get a rod out of the way while you're rigging as well, but it definitely won't hurt being there. Not going to mind the headroom. And I offset them a little. You can see here how I offset them. My hope is that the reels don't get in the way. I think it's going to work out just fine. Definitely does with the inshore rods. I don't know about the offshore, but well, it definitely works here with my inshore rods. Happy about that. I'd like to thank Tom Heller for that idea. I normally don't like to talk good about Tom. He's beat me in the last 2 club tournaments. You know, to win a club tournament, we've learned that you've got to be both smart and hit the ball a long way. He gave me that idea, and thanks, Tom, for that. I'm just joking with you, buddy. All right, some additional rod holders. In my other video, I showed that I put in some additionals here that didn't come in the factory. And I got to say, the dealer did a great job on those. Fishtails is my dealership in Fort Myers. And then I just felt I was missing some, and I'm actually using it right now, a midship. I put this at 15 degrees out, just exactly for the purpose that I'm using it for here. I'm fishing a mangrove line. I've got my spot lock on. I just felt like I was missing a rod going that way. These are angled out a little bit. This is a factory one, and it's really set up kind of for both trolling and fishing like I am now. And I just felt like I wanted one going straight out. In addition to that, I always have my operating table right here. And you can see we have a patient on the table. Operation didn't go very well, but I always have that there. So I'm minus a rod holder all the time. So I felt like I wanted one right here on this other side. Now it's been a great addition so far. Hopefully I get interrupted with this one going off. This next one's real simple, but it's really, really cool. I think it's ingenious in my opinion. It's not my idea, so I can say that. Check this out. Boom. This is just a command broom holder, and I just found a net that fit in there, and it's perfect. Always got a net in there ready to go. Love it. That's a pretty cool idea. I got that idea off somebody else on YouTube. I reached out to him and said, hey, how do you keep your net in there? And he's like, it's just this command broom thing. And I was like, I felt pretty stupid, but anyway, it's a really cool, I would highly recommend that. That net is just sitting on there with an adhesive, and so far it's working great. Love it. So another thing that I added was a heading sensor for my radar. When I bought this boat, I thought that I could overlay my radar signal to my chart, but I couldn't. I needed the heading sensor. And what it would look like without a heading sensor is like this. I've got a little shoreline here. There's some islands here. These are boats right there that are showing up. So it's working great. No problem there. I can zoom in. So that's fine, but I've got to look back and forth. With the heading sensor, I've got the overlay right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 boats and a couple islands. I can't even see them to count them. I see a couple there. The island's right there. So the heading sensor, you have to have it. I mean, why get a radar without a heading sensor? Now I want to say I did miss a big fish, and I'm talking big, so I'm a little upset while I'm shooting this video, but I'll try to get through it. And I'll run up into the bow here and just show you another one. So I had the dealer install that Minnekota stand, so when my Ulterra is up, it just lays right on top of that. That's been working great. I can strap it down if I were trailering or in really rough water, but typically I don't leave it that way. It's been working real good. So let me give you an update on some of the mods that I've previously recorded and just kind of show you how they're working out. I'm still in love with these sea suckers. These things are working so good, I just can't believe it. You can see this is showing orange, so I have to pump it. So the vacuum's starting to slow down, but I've never had it let go yet, and it's been working great. I've got the 3 holders in the back that work perfect. And then I've got up here, I'm fishing, so I got my net handy. I'll show that in a second. I've got a gaff holder right here, keeps that out of the way. And so this is how I normally leave this net. And you can see it's just stuck in here. If I need it quick, I can just pull it out. And I'm by myself a lot. So here we go, fully deployed, ready to go. Ready to go. So I still can get to it really easily, and it's stowed away. One tip I'll pass on is whenever you have your net ready, you'll never catch a fish, so always keep it stowed. I lost a big one, I'm telling you, it's killing me. All right, and I got these products here from a company called Minnekota. I'm still loving this T-top bag. I got quick access to my throw ring. I've got leader line super handy. Love this. And then Minnekota also sent me this trash can. Loving that. That's working great. I did have a mirror up there, and I liked the function of it. It was really high quality, but it was kind of pulling my hydraulic down on the window and making that a little offset. So I ended up taking that down. I got to figure out another way to hook that up. My absolute favorite modification that I have done, though, is still this center bar command post. I got all this room back here, and I've got everything I need at hand. I can put so much stuff in here. A lot of times at the end of the day, I've got lures stuck in here that I've used. This thing has been just an amazing product for me, and I can still put the seat down, which I love. So if you have the fold down seat, this to me is a must have. It gets used every time I'm out on the water, whether it's grabbing tools, putting a drink in there. I always have certain things there. I know exactly where they are, and I think that's really critical when you're out fishing and mayhem's ensuing. Not really a modification, but I think it's kind of cool, is I always like to have ropes handy. You never know. So stuff can go downhill fast. I always want a rope handy. Oh, I got a fish going. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, I successfully released that catfish unharmed. Back to my rope story. So I love having a rope here. In this case, I got two. If I need this, I can just pull it hard and I've got it. I don't have to unwind that at all. And I think that's a good safety tip for everybody, is have a rope handy. Everybody can see it. Same thing as I've said before, I want to always have my cushion handy where everybody can see it, and I don't have to open up a cabinet to go find it. You've got to really plan your safety equipment to be usable. A couple quick tips I'll just throw in the middle of this video because I'm standing here. All right, I did some adhesive items on the boat. I put this little tray in a couple months ago, and it's crazy good. I love it. I mean, it still looks brand new. Fits perfect. Color's great. Everything is perfect. It's like it was made for it. And then my rulers here, they're a little dirty, which I take a little pride in because I have been catching some fish. But these rulers here have been great. They've been sticking down good like they should. Two other quick things while I'm talking about tools. I got my tool belt command bar in the back there, but I put this guy in here. This has been working really well. Just a knife, a couple pliers. And then over here, I did the same thing. I got a pliers right here, and I normally keep this knife here by my cutting table. You can see I need to clean it up a little bit, but that's working great. And I had a friend on the boat last weekend, and he said, "You're never more than 5 feet from a pair of Dankos on this boat." And I was like, perfect, that's exactly what I wanted. I never like looking around, digging around, especially you got a fish in your hands. You know, you're trying to do right by the fish, and you know, I hate digging around for stuff. So I want stuff on both sides of my boat and on the back where I know exactly where it is, and it's there all the time. There's a thing for a place and a place for a thing on this boat. All right, before I get into my likes and dislikes about this Robalo 266 Cayman, I want to talk about a couple things that I thought were going to be a concern when I first bought this boat and are not. So the first one is where the wheel is placed. So the wheel is kind of off to the right. It's kind of 60-40, I guess. And at first when I sat in this boat, I thought that was a little bit strange. I thought I'd have to get used to it. I found this boat at a boat show, which, side note, I'm not allowed to go to boat shows anymore. You know, if you are married for 30 years and you feel deep down in your gut, you know that you have to ask for permission to go somewhere, you probably already know the answer. So I know, I already know I can't go to boat shows. Anyway, let me get back on the topic here. I actually love where this wheel is. I'm steering with my left hand, my weak hand. The throttle's on my right hand, my strong hand. So for me, it is a perfect fit. And I also like that when someone's sitting here next to me, if I've got a passenger, the wheel's not too far away. They're not in my space if they want to grab it. And we do have a rule on this boat. If you think we're going to hit something, do something. There's been plenty of times where we're going down the canal and my buddy will reach over, and you know, it's kind of expected. If I'm tying something up or distracted, whoever's sitting here can easily take over. And I've come to really appreciate where this wheel is. Then the second thing that I was concerned about was the engine. So it's a 425 Yamaha. It's the biggest engine I've ever owned. Very heavy. I love the way it looks. I absolutely love the white on the engine, but it's super heavy, and this boat's heavy. And I went from a Tidewater, a 25-foot Tidewater, and when I idled and I turned it in reverse and turned the wheel, it would swing the bow pretty easily. In this boat, it won't. And so I've just learned to goose it a little bit, to give it a little more gas. I thought that would come around, but at first I was a little bit scared. A brand new boat, didn't want to scratch it, and now it's absolutely no problem putting this boat exactly where I want it. It's all feel. The other thing was, I heard people have concern about engine noise, and I didn't upgrade the stereo, and I lost a little sleep over that. But honestly, I'm a fisherman. I'm not out here clubbing. It's no big deal whatsoever, and I get plenty of juice out of my radio. Totally fine, and the engine noise does not bother me at all. It just sounded so much different than my other boat, my 300 horsepower Yamaha. So I'm used to it now, and neither of those things are a big deal. All right, let's talk about dislikes. No boat is perfect. I knew that when I bought this boat. I knew I was going to a little bit bigger boat, a little heavier boat. Well, obviously the pros were better than the cons for me, but what surprised me about this boat, now that I've had it for a year, is the ride. In saying that, it's just a wet ride. It's busts through the waves fine. It feels great. I mean, I've taken on some serious chop at some serious speeds, but you are getting a lot of water onto the windshield. I've got a full windshield here, and I need it. There's been plenty of times where it's been absolutely coated, and that windshield's necessary. It's just water kicks up on this boat. So I just keep a pack of lint-free rags up here. I wipe it down good, and it comes right off. The glass is really high quality, but you know, it's just a ride that throws some water up and it'll splash on you a little bit. Saying that I haven't really gotten wet. The windshield was I should have added the windshield as one of my concerns, but I've grown to really like it. I had it through a whole winter season. I loved it then, kept the vent down. I stayed out of the wind, which was nice. In the summertime, it's a little hot, but you kind of learn to pull that air in with your arm out here. And it's definitely not a big deal, and you really need it because of the way the water comes off the hull, in my humble opinion. I'm coming from a Tidewater. Tidewater's known for the Carolina Flare, and that was just an extremely dry boat. I like this boat. I'm super happy with the decision I made, but that's one thing that really I don't like. Let me hit one super minor thing that I don't like. All right, this is not a big deal, but it is something that bugs me. If you got a tip for this, please put it in the comments. I love this divider, but it always comes loose when I'm at high speed. So this divider has been great to separate my baits. There's been a few times where I've had like old pinfish from my trap, and I put them in one side, new pinfish in the other ones. Don't use up the old ones first. There's been times where I had threadfin, crabs and stuff like that all separated. Also, one thing that's really nice about it is sometimes I'll only go out with a handful of baits, and I'll just put it like this and put the baits in this smaller so I don't have to chase them around. So it works great, but when I go to high speed, it comes loose. So I love the idea of it. It is functional a lot of the time, but when it comes loose, things can get mixed up. I just think this could be a little bit stronger. Again, if you've got some tips for me, put them in the comments. So there have been 2 repairs that I've had to do on this boat in this last year, and they both had to do with screws popping out. In this case, I love this. I've got essential tackle in here, but all the screws let go, so I don't know what they did with the screws here, but they've got, that was an easy repair. And then underneath here in the cabin, some screws dropped out. I'm not going to show that because there's nothing to see, but that was it. And I gotta say, I'm shocked by that. That's the only repair work I've done. Happy with the quality of this build. I just lost another one. You should either be filming or fishing. You can't do both. Multitasking does not work in this case. All right, let me talk about the things I love about this boat. I still love. The first thing, what drew me to this boat, was overall the layout. So I just absolutely love where my live wells are. I love having one port and one starboard. It's just amazing. Have these 2 aft live wells, and I got one up in the front. I'm using them every single time, and I haven't had to replace a pump yet, which really surprises me. Now, I did have the dealer install screens. They asked me, do I fish shallow? And I was like, well, yeah, of course I fish shallow. I live in the Gulf. And they installed screens for me. So I think that really has made a big difference. In my last boat, I didn't have screens, and I did have to replace pumps once in a while. Like, I'd say at least once every 6 months, one of the pumps went out. So there is that. Check this out. And this is pretty cool. That could be a sawfish. Maybe I'm making that up, but it kind of could be a bill. I don't know. Anyway, the side scan on this thing's ridiculous. Another thing that was a real luxury when I bought this boat was having a head on it. Now, it's only been used twice. I'm not going to do the math on that. I will say, though, that those 2 times the day would have got cut short had I not had that. And so what's the price of happiness? Still, I wouldn't do the math on it, but I have that. I plan on taking other people out. I'd really like to get some people out who don't fish a lot, and I think that head will probably get used. I'm gonna wait for these waves to go by because somebody didn't appreciate the fact that this whole place is a no wake zone. I'll be right back. And then really what caught my eye very first on this boat when I walked into it at the boat show was the fold down seat. I love to fish back here. A lot of times I've got the Minnekota on spot lock and I'm looking this way. And in my old boat, I was always kind of jammed into the seat. And in this boat, I can put this down. It's just a real luxury feel to fold this seat down, face back, put your feet up there, and you can see all your rods. This fold down seat is really the first thing that turned me onto this boat. I've really only used it during the tarpon season, but it's worth it. I'll use it every time I'm tarpon fishing nearly. I just absolutely love it. And then the Ulterra has held up well. I do spray it down with lithium grease on the shaft at least once a month, but it's been flawless. And honestly, I wasn't expecting that. I just heard a lot of bad things about the Ulterra's performance, and so far for me, it's been amazing. The radar was a real splurge for me, but it really saved my butt once. I've absolutely had to use it only once, but I've used it a number of times just to feel good. But the one time I used it, I was in some really crazy, dangerous fog. And you can see from this video, it was nuts. And having that radar, I didn't have the heading sensor that I mentioned earlier on at that time. And actually, when I got home, I called my dealer and I was like, just order that up for me. I really don't care. I got to have it. There's no reason to have the radar, not the heading sensor. It worked for me because I have 2 screens, but going back and forth and then looking up when visibility was only, maybe 1/10 of a mile, wasn't good. It didn't feel good, and I felt like I had some safety equipment that I wasn't taking full advantage of, and now I am. So I really, really love the radar. I don't know if the camera caught that, but fish are busting right there. Well, that's a wrap on the 1-year update on this Robalo 266 Cayman. If you have any questions about what I've done with this boat or my experience with this boat after nearly 400 hours on it, please drop them in the comments section below. I'm loving it. The reasons I bought this boat are still standing true. For the way I'm fishing, I think I made the right call in upgrading to a 26-footer, and I'm really, really happy with Robalo, happy with the reliability of it, really happy with the quality of it. So props to Robalo. My dealers, Fishtails in Fort Myers, they have served me really, really well. Thanks, guys, Fishtails. This video, I'm not getting anything for this video. I'm not supported by anything that I've shown here. Man, there's fish busting everywhere. You shoot a boat video, what I should do is just start a boat video and then just fake them out and go right to fishing, It's, okay. Maybe I should get fishing. Let's go.